Okay, quick Wednesday morning radar update. Just double check it's Wednesday. So, widespread day yesterday. A little drift down on the markets. We're above the range on the DAX. Well, we punched the range on the DAX. We punched the range on the FTSE 100. So, efficient markets. A little pop in those. Sideways on the 250 and range bound, opening range bound on the 250 and the small caps. Moving on. Metals a little bit mixed today, some up, some down. Quickly go and have a look at that little bounce on the dollar off the lows yesterday. Bitcoin, TLT. So let's just move straight into it. We'll see what's moving today. It is 20 past 9. We should have traded 16% to be on average volume. A little bit earlier than usual today for me here, but I've got a bit of work to do. I'm going to get away from the screens today, so we've got quite a few on the list actually in the large caps. I'll just buzz through these. Fan continues. You know, straight away I'm trying to hold myself from going too far off piste here, but I don't hold this one. A couple of opportunities to get the low risk sort of entry as it broke out and started its primary trend. And when it's down in this area, you know, that's what it looks like. That's how trends start. You have to make a decision. I'm long, I'm wrong. But nobody knows what's going to happen. At the right hand edge. But you know, if you're focusing on the best growth stocks, well, that's a reason for a primary trend. You know, if it's breaking out for a reason, you know, I'm going to put weight. I'll take the best growth trades every day. At the point of this one actually breaking out, I was sort of fully loaded already. There was so many sort of stocks breaking out at the same time. This one didn't make the cut for me because it had a little bit of overhead supply. But you know, it's a market of many stocks. Good example. Burford. So this one's been sort of working on a kind of reverse vol base. The way I would like to see this one, it's not my favourite sector, is a base riding the trend. So what do I mean by that? You know, the moving averages I follow, I like a base on the trend, and we actually put this base in here. Not trading towards what I trade towards this stock. You know, back here it was awful. In fact, I'll just go back. I'll punch that one in. It's better than it was, is all I can say. You know, it's way down on the list, 507, because it's, you know, just less than 30% on the gas in the tank on this one. So yeah, it's not going to be exciting. I will tell you now. You know, back here, this one was trading towards fantastic sort of growth, and it, you know, it played out. Trend following the growth phase. That's the best way of putting it. NFC, return to growth, that one. Ted Baker. This one just looks awful to me, but whatever it's going up on, I expect it. Do you expect it to trend off into the distance? You know, this thing just looks absolutely awful if you're looking to, you know, through the front window. Well, the price action is you know, stepping up there. I expect it will be drawn out. You know, crash and burn statement. I expect it to be drawn out wide, loose action until it gets those forward numbers behind it. Return to growth on Dixon's as well. This one traded towards it happily, sort of. Not an easy ride though, was it? Choppy. Awful choppy action. And into the small caps. Should have traded 17% to be on average volume, but no. I'll just punch that in. 17%. Yeah, there's a lot in here. They tend to sort of drift. You know, the volume leaders. 10 o'clock is usually the earliest I want to do it, as in to get a good idea of what's holding strength. Obviously, I run these in the morning. I run them multiple times in the day sometimes. So ARB got results in a few days on this one. TSTL, right side of a base. CRTM, nothing, no forward numbers on that one. Teresa, can we call that a base on a base? I wanted it to go sideways some more myself. TGR graphite through a swing point here, not in my zone. It's kind of a swing point high in the sky, but you know, if I was it's an early IPO base, but it's not built off mean trend, so you know, I usually go wide with the stops on those if I do take them on as well. Just makes a little bit more sense. XPD, move that out of the way. IHC, this was kind of, it's got a 0 on the pre-tax on this. IHC, it's still right up there in the growth leaders. It was a very liquid one, came out of this base here, and then it had another little base here, and it's up 50% from that second one. Very illiquid one. We put in this big level here, you know. Yeah, who knows, answers on a postcard. I know a few trading bases are riding that one, so hopefully it just goes off to the moon. And when I say who knows, I can guarantee nobody knows. You know, it's a game of you can research all you want and look for the lowest risk opportunities, but the reality is the lowest risk opportunities are probably the lowest risk opportunities because they've already arrived. You know, trends unwind as the risk unwinds, and then the continuation. Trends emerge as the risk unwinds from ones what have been in a downtrend. So when they're recovering, you know, first you'll get the unwind of the risk, and it will float a little bit higher, and then they will be returning to growth, and they will float a little bit higher, and then the growth will post, and they will float a bit higher, and the growth will accelerate, and And if it gets through all the phases, you know, if you researched for low risk, you know, as it came out of that curve, you know, low risk probably, I mean, Tapica was the classic, wasn't it? Low risk was right at the top. You know, when I posted the trade, it was high risk to all the researchers out there. So, you know, you've got to remember, you've got to be on this sort of understand that you're on the growth wheel. Where are you on that? You know, less worse starts to get better, accelerates as good as it can ever be, and then it rolls over, decelerating. Still great growth, but decelerating, and the price follows it down, even though it's got better growth than it had down it when it was recovering off the lows. You know, more money was made off the lows in the emerging sort of, as the risk was unwinding, than was made when there was this fantastic growth on the table at the top, and it was all downhill. Have a look at Fever Tree and have a look at Boo. You know, they halved in price, you know, when they were at the best. Fever Tree actually kept grinding higher on deceleration, and then, you know, that's what you'd call the sort of momentum trade, when it's, you know, investors are still pushing it higher just on the story, and there's, you know, it's running on fumes is probably the best way I could describe it. The circle of growth. SLP, nothing wrong with that. Dual group, this is a return to growth as well. So you can see where are you finding this trade? Well, you're finding it off the bottom, aren't you? And then it based out and off it goes. We were talking about it sort of in that day here, and this day here was our sort of ways of looking. And there was a little base down here as well. So there's another little opportunity on that back there. For the person who buys breakouts and pullbacks. No forward numbers on this. It's probably loss making still. Pretty sure it will be. Air Partner, I can sort of see. I don't buy anything with aviation or air, very rarely anyway, with air or aviation or anything like that in the title. Does nothing for me. So and Triton. So that is this morning's volume leaders. A little bit of off-piste, talking about growth, the growth trend, the circle of growth, and if you're interested in stuff like that, well, visit my website. It will be in my link. Okay, cheers.